So Latin American art is becoming increasingly popular here. What are the investment opportunities in this kind of art?
I mean, I think it is becoming increasingly popular as Hong Kong develops into a true global art center, and Latin American art needs to be part of any global art conversation. I think what's relevant about Latin American art is that it brings a different story, both from a quality and potentially also from an investment point of view. The Latin American market has a lot of structural differences that make it have very, very high quality, but also provide opportunities in terms of value. And from an investment perspective, it has very different dynamics to the Chinese market.
How so? Why is it so different?
I mean, I think the biggest difference is that although it does offer potential for growth, it doesn't have the very high volatility that contemporary Chinese market, for example, or Indian markets may have. And this is basically driven by a very strong collector pool that buys to keep, and that is very, very focused on artists that have a very proven track record.
So this is interesting. The volatility that you talk about is a reflection on the investor and not necessarily on the artist?
That's correct. You know, it's really interesting, for example, when I bring artists for exhibitions here, and people or collectors look at their curriculums, and they have, you know, sometimes decades of international exhibitions. And that means they've gone through a proven record in terms of museums, academic tests, etc., which may make career grow a little bit slower, but in a much safer way. Like, let's say some Asian artists that hit the market at huge prices, but not necessarily with a proven track record.
Now, in terms of what specific artists one should look for, you have an artist called Hector Velasquez. Coming, you know, his work coming to your studio soon. Is this one of his pieces?
It is actually. Hector is, I think, a fantastic example of what makes Latin artists different. He is at a cusp in his career where he's gone through a large number of academic exhibitions, and is now starting to go through the international art fairs. He's actually going to come to Hong Kong after being at the Berlin Art Fair. And I think he's a fantastic example of what Latin American art means. It's a strong quality in terms of execution. It's very strong in terms of the message, visually, which is very attractive for Asian buyers in general as well, who, you know, really follow the intensity and attractiveness that Latin American has.
Okay, great. Unfortunately, we're running out of time. Just one last quick question. What would be your one quick piece of advice to collectors of Latin American art?
Look for quality. Make sure you buy artists that have a proven track record, and make sure that you pay international prices. That's it.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for joining us. That is Adriana Alvarez-Nichol, who is Asia's first Latin American art dealer.